One cardiologist prescribed blood thinner.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or have antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising, or if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take medicines such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
The Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and online at WGNSradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Good morning. This is Bill Krause, the Roundtable, on a gorgeous Thursday morning as we're in the month of May and rain and sunshine and pollen and all of the accessories. We're very delighted this morning to have with us the owner of Seniors Helping Seniors, Danielle Rutherford. And I love the name Seniors Helping Seniors. Just the word help means so much. Good morning, Danielle. Welcome to the Roundtable.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
I always like to begin the program with finding out about our guest, where she was born, her schooling, her professional growth, and how she started Seniors Helping Seniors.
Of course. Well, Danielle Rutherford's my name. I was born...
No relationship to the county?
Unfortunately, no. Not at all. But it does help people remember me. I was born in Nashville, raised in a small suburb north of Nashville called Ashland City, and stayed there for quite some time. Then stayed there for quite some time and ended up coming to Murfreesboro for school at MTSU. When I graduated MTSU, my husband and I ended up staying here in our community. I went to school there for a social work degree. And from there, found that I really, truly enjoyed serving the geriatric population. My grandfather was a World War II vet, and I saw the
Greatest generation.
Yes. Saw the struggles that he went through my childhood growing up, and the struggles that my grandmother had with trying to care for him. The VA was great, still is very great, and I knew from an early age that I wanted to serve that population. When I was in MTSU, I started at the VA here in Murfreesboro in their long-term care unit as a new social worker, just trying to learn the ropes. From there, branched out to downtown Nashville and just started into the nonprofit world, helping individuals age in place in their home safely.
What age range would you define geriatrics? You know, I look at the AARP and they start sending out notices to people 45 saying you're a senior now at 45, we want your membership. What would you define as an age?
I would probably define it personally as probably 55 and up is normally where your benefits, I guess, would start kicking in.
Both benefits as far as early Social Security, or health care,
quite possibly,
medical, and so forth.
Yeah, and just opportunities for centers around town to network.
Tell us about Seniors Helping Seniors. First of all, tell us how you got the name, because it certainly says a lot.
Well, it is a franchise. We were the first to open here in Middle Tennessee. It's just a really good concept. We are true to our name. We hire individuals who are seasoned caregivers or retired individuals to be the companions to our people in our community that need help.
And kind of give an overview of if there's such a word as typical client. I would imagine they're all over the place in terms of age and need. But I think you were saying when we were off the air, the most important thing is to have the senior stay at home as long as possible.
Correct.
Talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, so our goal at Seniors Helping Seniors is to help individuals age in place. That's different for everyone in all ages. We have care receivers as young as, in their early 40s. We have care receivers in their 90s.
What is the oldest? Do you know off the top of your head the oldest one?
Yes, the oldest care receiver we have is 94.
94, bless their heart.
Yes.
Are they in pretty good condition?
Very good condition.
Are they out playing tennis and running the 5K?
No, not so much, but definitely busy and keeps us on our toes. Yes.
Does the amount of time earmarked to a senior vary from full-time to daily to weekly to hourly?
Yeah, it really just depends on the individual. We pride ourselves in providing you the care that you need at whatever pace you need it. We provide care 4 hours at a time, all the way up to 24 hours give care.
Walk us through. Let's say, well, first, before we go any further, your telephone number is?
615-988-0803.
One more time for the listener.
615-988-0803.
Suppose a family member calls you and says, I have a mother living with us. I'm not sure whether we can take care of her. We're looking at options, including at a senior facility. What would be the steps you would take to assess the need and then develop a plan to respond to the need?
It's very organic. First, we do free consultations. So for me to come out to your home to just have a conversation, to meet someone where they're at in their journey, there's no cost to that. We want to help our community. My goal is, whenever I meet with a family, just to find where the gaps of care are. Where is someone having struggles and why? From there, we put a plan together with the family and try to determine how we can plug in those gaps to keep the individual safe in their home, independent in their home, and where they want to be.
I would imagine just keeping up with prescription drugs would be a challenge in itself. Are they taking them as they are supposed to? Are they taking them at appropriate times and doses?
Of course, that's part of what we do. We do medication reminders, and we ensure that someone's taking their medication properly if that is one of their gaps of care.
Do you find, when you tour the house, are you finding a number of seniors still living at home alone?
There are a lot of individuals living at home alone due to the pandemic. Too, a lot of individuals' children, a lot of our care receivers' children want their loved one to have companionship. During COVID, a lot of individuals were not going out to senior centers. They were not being social, so they've kind of lost a little bit of that camaraderie with individuals one-on-one, face-to-face. And so a lot of our clients truly are using us for companion care.
Do you have a difficulty in matching a caregiver with a client? Do they have to meet certain criteria, personality and interest and state of condition and so forth, so that there's a, quote, perfect match between A plus B?
We do a really good job of matching our care receivers to our caregivers. Some of them just end up becoming part of the family. We have a large pool of caregivers with different backgrounds, different care qualities that they have, and whenever I'm in someone's home, I'm constantly thinking of which caregiver I can pair with them. So it starts from the moment I meet the individual.
And I would assume you do have the possibility, and hopefully it's a very small possibility, that if a caregiver and a client do not match well, you would make a swap.
Of course, of course.
When you first tour the home, and I'm more interested in looking at a home where a senior may be living alone. Are they getting enough nourishment? Do they turn the gas off on the stove? Are there electrical lines that could potentially be a fire hazard? When you first tour the home, what are some of the things you're looking for as you're touring the home?
Well, the first thing is we look for safety. We want to make sure that our individuals are safe in their own home. And that's from everything to, do they need a handrail when walking up steps into their front door, to picking up rugs that might be in their hallway, or telephone cords, like you said. You know, we look for safety first, and then from there, we just kind of go from room to room. And I'll say, okay, what services do you need in this kitchen? Where's your struggle here? Is it meals? Is it washing dishes? You know, is it cleaning up? And we same thing in the bedroom. Is it hard to change your linens? Do you need assistance with laundry? We just go room to room, and it's just more of a conversation, and we see how we can help that individual in their own home.
Do you find at times, and I'm sure you do, but then I'm sure you have a strategy how to resolve it. Do you find a time when there's a hesitancy or actually a resistance on the part of the senior to have, quote, a stranger come into their home?
Of course, we do run into that all the time. I'd like to make sure whenever I'm meeting with individuals for the first time who have never received care, I ensure them we're here to promote what they can do and not really focus on the negative of what's really hard for them. I just make sure to focus on all the things we're here to help them to stay independent with, so we can help them with the things that they struggle with.
Tell us about the minimum time you may be caregiving versus the maximum time and the various levels of service you provide.
We get a lot of individuals coming out of rehab that are unsure of what their capabilities are once they get back into their home. They've been in this controlled environment for 6 weeks, and when they get in their home, they're really nervous about what they can do. So we get a lot of individuals right out of rehab, and then we'll provide care 3 times a week or 4 times a week to them until they're comfortable and back on their feet. We have one individual that has set us up for that service, and then once she got stronger, she didn't need us anymore. She still lets us come once a month because she loves her caregiver so much. So her and her caregiver get together once a month and cook and chat. So most of the time, whenever we pair someone, they do really become, I don't really want to say caregivers, but friends, and they meet you in that journey, and they truly care about our individuals that they serve.
Or it's their newly adopted sister.
There you
or
go.
their newly adopted brother, and what
Yes.
have you. Do the caregivers drive the client to doctor's appointments?
We do. It's really a great service. We provide transportation to medical appointments, transportation for errands, transportation to go get your hair done, or to go shopping at the avenues. We have all types of scenarios. Again, we meet an individual where they're at in their journey, and if that is needing transportation to the library or to run errands for what you want to do for your grandchildren because you can't drive anymore, then we provide that.
That is a phenomenal point. What about ensuring that they're eating well? Many times seniors forget about food, forget about meals, and suddenly you'll find a refrigerator full of food that is spoiled or that has gone bad just because they forgot about cooking.
We have numerous individuals that have our services multiple times per week just for meal preparation. We'll go in and we will ensure that they have the proper groceries. We'll go over a grocery list with them and figure out what they want to eat for the week. So my caregivers will go grocery shopping, prepare the meals, get them set up in the refrigerator for the week, and then they'll come back midweek and do the same thing for the next few days. So
Do you have some caregivers stay over?
Overnight?
Overnight?
Yeah, we do provide overnight care. We have individuals that definitely need that reassurance that if they need some help in the evenings or overnight, that they've got someone there for their safety. So we do provide that.
Is there an emergency relationship that the senior can call or buzz, or with a button, for example, call for help?
There are electronic caregivers that we can assist with providing in the home for that purpose. If we have someone there, of course, our individual caregiver would assist with that care need. But yeah, we do provide the personal emergency response buttons.
Are your caregivers given first aid education?
They give education. They are first, though, they're supposed to acknowledge what the individual's baseline is, and if there is any emergency, need to call the authorities for the first responders.
Sure. And the caregivers are in contact with family members to report on or give input, give feedback on the state of mind. And I want to talk about that for a moment, the state of mind. Up until now, you've been sharing in an excellent way, sharing the physical needs of the client. What about the stages of dementia, the stages, even early stages of Alzheimer's? At what point does the caregiver get involved in the mental, psychological response?
We we have a lot of individuals that have early onset dementia. We have individuals who are fully into Lewy body dementia that need that full day-to-day cueing, moment-to-moment cueing of care. Our caregivers have been versed with dementia. We've worked a lot with Tennessee Alzheimer's to help the awareness get out about dementia and how to care for the loved ones. But a lot of the caregivers who are paired with care receivers with dementia and Alzheimer's, they have personal experience with working with individuals. They're very patient. And they work hand in hand with the family members of those individuals to figure out what triggers good moments and figure out how bad moments are triggered as well.
So what you're saying is that, and this is fascinating to me, that each dementia or potentially Alzheimer's client has their own symptoms and their own patterns and their own, quote, status, and you respond on an individual response to that status.
Of course. Everyone is different in their journey, and we try to focus on how we can help that individual feel safe, be independent in their own home. A lot of individuals with dementia are very unsure about their moments, their day-to-day, and we're there to make them feel comfortable.
This is Bill Krause and the Roundtable. We're having a wonderful visit with Danielle Rutherford, who is the owner of Seniors Helping Seniors, a relatively new organization in our county, but one with not only great experience, but with great heart. We'll be right back.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and worldwide at WGNSradio.com.
Hi, this is Bob Cornell, pastor of Covenant Church right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. The answer that you've been looking for is found in Jesus and what He accomplished at the cross. You see, Jesus changes lives from the inside out. We would love for you to join us at Covenant Church, located at 1124 Brinkley Ave right here in Murfreesboro. We have services Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. and Tuesdays at 7 p.m. You can learn more about us at our Cornell Ministries YouTube channel. We want you to grow in Christ at Covenant Church.
It's a Slick Pig barbecue, spicy wings and Brunswick stew, everything made fresh for you at the Slick Pig barbecue. There's lean smoked turkey and chicken too, ribs so tender don't need to chew. Well, come on folks, I'm telling you, it's a Slick Pig barbecue. In 1920 East Main, you're gonna love the pig.
The Slick Pig Barbecue, a Murfreesboro tradition.
Hey guys, this is Scott. There's a lot of people talking about testosterone. You hear it everywhere, but do your homework and make sure when you go to a provider, go to one you can trust. Personally, I recommend Low T Center. It's where I get my levels checked. Low T Center exclusively specializes in men's wellness, and they check all your levels, not just your testosterone. And they determine the cause of any symptoms you're having and whether you're a candidate for low T or something else like low thyroid or sleep apnea. Typically, their annual health assessment is completely covered by health insurance, and they check everything, including PSA, which is your prostate levels. And they also check thyroid, liver, and kidney function, cholesterol, glucose levels, and more. Low T Center also has affordable and convenient at-home treatment options. Prioritize your health in the new year. Schedule your annual health assessment at Low T Center today at lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
It's Good Neighbor Events, brought to you by the law offices of John Day, AmeriCare Pest Control, and Cardinal Realty Solutions.
This is a paid legal ad.
Hi, this is John Day of the Law Offices of John Day. I've lived and worked as a lawyer in Middle Tennessee for over 30 years, and to me, every single day has been an honor. That's why our firm is so involved with community programs like bicycle helmet giveaways and our Safe Ride Home program. At the Law Offices of John Day, we're not just looking to make donations. We want to make a difference in the community we hold so dear. And if you're ever injured, know that we are here for you too.
So what does the first weekend in May bring? You're about to find out on WGNS Good Neighbor Events. Well, the sound of music at the Center for the Arts in Uptown Murfreesboro wraps up this weekend. Also, Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing is on the grounds at Oakland's Mansion every night through Sunday, 7 o'clock. Another play, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. That's at the Springhouse Theater in Smyrna. And that also wraps up this weekend. The 52nd Annual Spring Tennessee Craft Fair is at Centennial Park in Nashville. Oh, the Jazz Fest, this Saturday over at the Fountains, 10 a.m. until 6 at night at the Fountains. Now listen, the Saturday Marketplace on the Murfreesboro Square, it opens this weekend. You need to be there, 8 in the morning until noon, Saturday on the Murfreesboro Square. And thank you, Main Street Murfreesboro, for the Saturday Marketplace. For more Good Neighbor events, check our website, WGNSradio.com.
Good Neighbor weather. We'll see increasing clouds here for this afternoon with a high in the mid-70s. North winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a low near 50. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Currently, it's 50.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. MTE's Drive EV program has resources for members who would like to learn more about all aspects of EVs. MTE is developing programs and educational materials to answer member questions. Learn more at driveev.com.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and worldwide at WGNSradio.com.
Hello again, Bill Krause on the Roundtable, and we're having a lovely, lovely visit with Danielle Rutherford, who is the owner of Seniors Helping Seniors, which is relatively new, but certainly making an impact on Rutherford County and our neighboring counties here. We were talking about the psychological and emotional support and assistance your caregivers give to the client. Can you identify, or do they identify, the step-by-step deterioration, for example, that dementia may have on the patient?
They do. A lot of our family members, when we initially meet with them, we talk about what the individual who's going to be receiving care, what their day-to-day looks like. You know, when are they at their best? When are they at their worst? And how can we come in and assist during either one of those times? Dementia is very different for everyone and every family's journey. So we want to make sure that whenever we meet that individual during their journey, that we're making a positive impact for both the care receiver and the care and the daughter or you know, or their family members, because they also struggle with taking care of their loved one 24/7, and they need a break as well. So we definitely try to focus on step by step, how can we make their lives easier.
Do you encourage, or maybe you don't even get involved in this, do you encourage the senior to have a pet?
We don't, it's whatever makes them happy. A lot of individuals have pets, and we make sure that our care receivers go into those homes. If we don't pair someone with
a dog
or a cat.
Yeah. You don't bring a kitten or a puppy?
No, we don't. But we make sure that our care receivers are comfortable going into families that have animals. And a lot of individuals do. They have those companions, and they're precious.
I remember a number of years ago, still in California, where there was a senior facility, a senior home, and they would bring in once a week puppies and kittens from the local pound, and the seniors would get to hold and pet and stroke the little animals. The only problem was that the animals were not housebroken, but the seniors didn't mind at all. But it was just a great therapy to just be sharing love with a puppy who looked at you with total love. How do you select your caregivers?
Our caregivers, a lot of the time, we do have open ads for, care receivers always. We're always looking for new faces to serve our community. We do serve Rutherford, Williamson, and Davidson County.
Oh, okay. I'm
right.
Kind of centered you just in
Yeah,
Rutherford, but no, you got the whole Middle Tennessee.
We do. Our Facebook page is Seniors Helping Seniors Middle TN, so it kind of focuses on the large footprint that we have, but we do always have ads out for caregivers to who want to provide service in our communities. Whenever I meet individuals, we really talk about, do you have a heart for service? Why do you want to serve? And we just start with a conversation. From there, we just do our onboarding, interviewing, and making sure that our caregivers understand whenever they sign up to be caregivers for Seniors Helping Seniors, that they're signing up to be a true impact on our community and the individuals that we serve.
I would imagine they come from the entire wide bit of life. You don't have to be a senior to be a caregiver, do you?
No, you do not. We hire our age is 18 years and older.
Wow.
Yeah. So we do have a lot of younger individuals, and I say just because someone's young, they still have a heart for service. I, at one point, was that young individual right out of college wanting to work in the geriatric field, and I remember getting a lot of crazy looks from a lot of older individuals thinking, hey, kid, can you really do this? But I truly had a heart for service, and over 20 years later, I'm still here.
Well, what's interesting with that is that the 18 or 19 or 20-year-old suddenly is adopted as a grandchild of the client, and suddenly I imagine the relationship and love would just be so great.
Yes, a lot of our individuals who are receiving care, sometimes they want to be paired with a younger individual. Sometimes they choose that. It's not always that they choose the more seasoned caregiver. Sometimes they do want a more youthful individual because that's their preference.
And it brings a new life into a stable home.
Of course.
Let's talk a little more about the caregiver. They can work minimum to maximum how many hours, would you say?
Minimum is 4 hours.
A week?
4 hours a week. We don't require, anything more than that. But we have caregivers that we have individual receivers that can receive up to 24/7 care.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So the caregiver might just be as a full-time possibility.
Correct. When we have individuals that are on the 24/7 care, we go at it as a team. So we really focus on how can this one individual get a team of our caregivers so our caregivers don't experience burnout either.
Describe some of your caregivers, not by name, of course, but where they came from in terms of history, their professional or their life's history, their volunteerism. Some off the top of your head.
Oh, we have one individual who used to own her own business. She was a caregiver to her loved one, her husband, and then he ended up passing, so she moved here to the Middle Tennessee area. She owned her own, 2 businesses that she owned, and she came here to be with her family, and she was just drawn to our service, and now she's out there working for us and loving every minute of it. She says it's something that she felt drawn to. She's prayed about it, and she was so glad that she took the step to just join our team because it's bringing her a lot of joy.
Do you recall your oldest caregiver currently?
I think she might be 76.
Bless her heart.
Is our oldest caregiver.
Bless her heart. And, and it fulfills an aspect of life. Give the phone number one more time for people who may be interested in talking to you in serving this Middle Tennessee area in this wonderful, wonderful capacity.
Yeah, it's 615-988-0803.
And your website?
It's shsmiddletn.com.
SHS, which is Seniors Helping Seniors.
middletn.com.
Wow. That could be of great interest for people. Do people have to have certain criteria? When you're interviewing someone for a position like this, and it isn't just anybody who, I'd like a job, I'd like 4 hours, I'd like 24 hours, what do you look for in a person? How do you define a caring heart, for example?
For someone who really wants to help individuals age in place, for someone who is in it as if it were my own loved one, if it were me needing help in my home, I always like to look a little deeper about what is the purpose of the individual's motive of coming onto our team.
Mm-hmm.
Do you just need a paycheck, or do you truly want to serve? And that's part of the conversation that I have with individuals when we meet for the first time. We really dive into the mission behind Seniors Helping Seniors, my history of being a social worker, my history of working with this population, and my true passion to make sure that people feel that whenever they talk to me about Seniors Helping Seniors.
Excellent, excellent. When you talk about personality, do they basically have to be very positive, enthusiastic, high energy, just a delightful human being?
It really just depends. We have a lot of different caregivers. Some that are very enthusiastic, some that are more calm and more sense of just relaxing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all different levels. I think we need different levels and different personalities and enthusiasm to go with certain families and how we meet them in their journey. Some families we meet in their journey at the very end stages, and sometimes we need our caregivers to meet them at that level.
And that can be very difficult for a caregiver to begin to develop a relationship only to see the person pass.
It is definitely difficult. We talk through that with our caregivers. If someone does happen to leave us on their journey, we still have contact with the family. We still have contact with our caregivers, and we ensure that communication is still going on, and we help them get any post-care that they might need as well.
Have you ever explored, and I know this is very experimental, but it's an interesting concept, where a senior may have a relatively large home in Middle Tennessee. They've lived there for 40 years. Their children have been raised there. Their grandchildren spend a lot of overnight time there and so forth. But it's a big house. Have they ever thought about bringing a second person in? Might be a sister, might be a cousin, so that you have two seniors living in the house together, served by one caregiver.
We have a lot of individuals, and that's a good example. We have married couples that they help each other, but they still need help together. So we do have one caregiver that will assist with both individuals. We just make sure to come out with a schedule and a plan, and to ensure that everyone's needs are met.
Excellent. Can you think of some experiences, particular singular experiences, where it just kind of puts a picture of what you're talking about, where a caregiver is going well beyond the expectation? A client is so delighted. Certain personal interactions that are occurring above and beyond a warm meal or a made bed.
Oh, of course. I have one. We have one care receiver that has become very close to her caregiver. And she cannot get out due to her inabilities of her home, other than maybe doctor's appointments. So on a couple of things, our caregiver's gone above and beyond to have her personal hairstylist come to the home.
Wow.
To get the individual's hair cut and nice, and just have a nice blow dry.
And feel good.
Yeah, feel good. That's not something that, we have on their care plan. It's not something that is required. It's just her doing it out of the goodness of her heart. That same caregiver also had conversations with the care receiver about there's a tapestry that she was trying to finish but couldn't finish, and she wanted to get it ready to get hung on the wall, and she just was something that was a project that was just never completed. Well, that caregiver steps up because she loves just to complete awesome tasks and she likes a challenge. So outside of her time with this individual, she worked on this tapestry. She was able to present it in a way where it was beautifully hung for our individual who's receiving the care. So now she's got this unfinished product that she's never been able to finish, and it's there on her wall.
It's like the unfinished symphony.
Yes.
Are the highest proportion of your caregivers women?
Yes. However, we do have a few male caregivers and looking for more.
Oh, and is there, and I don't want to make this sound like an issue, but is there any problem when you have a male caregiver taking care of a female caregiver or vice versa?
It really just depends on preference. We have some individuals who are males that would prefer a male companion, and vice versa. I mean, it really just depends on the individual's needs.
You haven't had any budding romances, have you?
No, have not.
Could be. I mean, you could have the caregiver either way falling in love with the other person. In fact, that almost would make a good basis of a novel.
Could be.
We'll be right back. We're on the Roundtable visiting with Danielle Rutherford, who owns Seniors Helping Seniors, which serves much of Middle Tennessee with personalized, caring, loving service to the person, whether it's 4 hours a week or full time. We'll be right back.
Chip Walters here with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates. I was named a top 10 agent in the #1 Exit Realty office in America in 2021. The top question I get around town, how's the market? Good question. And the answer's changed a few times this year alone. I'd like to know what you've heard and share some solid data we have. Give me a call and let's have a cup of coffee and take a look at what's happening in your neighborhood. All my contact info is right on my website, choosechip.net. I'm Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates.
What are you doing Saturday?
I'm going to the opening day of the Murfreesboro Saturday Market on the historic downtown square.
What happens there?
Oh, you have to come from 8 a.m. to noon. The square is lined with 68 vendors, including fresh produce, baked goods, local honey, and handcrafted items.
Is there food?
Yes, fresh coffee, country ham, and biscuits. There's even balloon art for the kids.
Flowers?
Fresh cut flower bouquets and plants.
The Murfreesboro Saturday Market has everything.
Follow them on Facebook, Murfreesboro Saturday Market.
This is Dr. David Morris with Magnolia Medical Center. Do you suffer from peripheral neuropathy in your hands or feet, burning pain, balance problems, and decreased quality of life? Magnolia Medical Center can help.
Magnolia Medical Center in Murfreesboro. Online at magnoliamedicalcenters.com.
Here at Bud's Tire, we make buying Michelin tires simpler. I'm Allison Mitchell with Bud's Tire Pros. We offer a straightforward approach to service, including nationwide warranties with every purchase. Stop in today to see our full lineup of Michelin and BF Goodrich tires. For whatever you drive, Michelin and BF Goodrich have a tire to fit any need. Bud's Tire Pros, hassle-free, guaranteed. We're located on East Main Street, exactly 3 miles from the town square, 1 mile past Rutherford Boulevard. Visit us online at budstirepros.tn.com.
Seniors Helping Seniors, in-home care services.
This is Danielle Rutherford. We make your life easier by providing compassionate care in the comfort of your own home.
Seniors Helping Seniors, clean my house.
Online at shsmiddletn.com.
French's, the name to trust. French's, depend on us. French's, a great selection too. We take pride in pleasing you. Get brand names at a lower price. The French family really treats you nice. It makes good sense to shop at French's. French's Shoes and Boots.
That's French's Shoes and Boots, 1837 South Church Street in Murfreesboro.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and worldwide at WGNSradio.com.
Hello again, Bill Krause on the Roundtable on a delightful Thursday morning. I love the month of May. Just between the rain and the wind and the sun. I think we've had more blue sky this year than I recall in a number of years here. Just such a gorgeous time to be alive. And a gorgeous time to be alive when you have seniors helping seniors as part of one's life. We're with Danielle Rutherford, who owns Seniors Helping Seniors. I have to ask you this one question. You're relatively new. Do you intend to remain a personalized business where you're not spread out with 5,000 clients all over Middle Tennessee, and you now become a numbers organization rather than one with individual care and attention?
We definitely want to focus on local individuals. We want to focus on being present in each person's home. I go into every home myself to do the initial visit. I don't intend to change any of that.
So you want to remain small, manageable, but still quality versus quantity.
We definitely want to make sure we are managing quality. We definitely want to let everyone know, though, we do want to grow, and we want to show everyone that growing will not impede our quality, that we truly are here as we grow to still provide that same amount of care to someone receiving 4 hours a day to 24/7 care, regardless of where that is.
Now, back on caregivers, I would assume that a large majority have to be physically able to assist a client into a wheelchair or walking or out of a chair and what have you. So I would assume there's a certain physical requirement.
We have individuals, that's one of the reasons why we have a huge age range of caregivers. Our younger, more livelier individuals are able to assist with the more heavier physical needs. Some of our more seasoned caregivers as well. I mean, they've been CNAs their whole career, and they're physically, able to do what needs to be done. We would never pair a caregiver to a care receiver where both of them would not be successful in what they're trying to achieve.
And, I think of patients in these mechanized wheelchairs, and those themselves are extraordinarily heavy in terms of weight and the ability to maneuver that or actually get it on a lift into a vehicle and so forth. Takes some doing.
It definitely does, but that's part of whenever I do my initial visit with families or the individual receiving the care. We really hone in on what's your daily schedule, what are your needs, and how can we be successful in helping you be successful in your home.
At this particular point, if somebody were to call you and say, Danielle, I don't know if we're quite ready to utilize your services, but is there a way you could visit us and give us a general idea so we can then start making some plans? Do you do visits prior to the immediate need for a caregiver?
We definitely do. Our visits, again, are free of charge. I always, I love going into homes and talking to people about planning. I always say you want to know where you can go for good quality help before the emergency arises.
Correct.
You don't want there to be a main emergency and you're panicking for care just to grab someone in your home to be a body. We want to make sure that we meet our individuals in the community. We see what their needs may be. We have a plan going into it. So when that 911 call comes and says, hey, Danielle, I really need someone for mom. We thought it was going to be 3 months from now, but it looks like it's going to be closer to that time. We're more prepared and able to assist.
When you make that visit, and I'd like to concentrate on this for a moment because I think it's a phenomenal resource for anybody with a senior, whether it's a spouse or a senior, whether it's a parent or grandparent. If you're visiting the house on an initial evaluation and analysis, just the ability to look at the safety factors as you described earlier, just to describe whether they need a hand bar in the restroom or whether they need a hand bar in the shower or whether they need some assistance on steps and what have you. Is this part of what you would do on an analysis?
It is. Again, whenever we go into homes and someone wants our services or wants to talk about our services, these are things that we discuss. Everything from safety to personal to, social. We go over all of it because all of those things combined help someone live a healthy life.
Does the caregiver reach out and create a relationship with the family?
It really depends on how open both care receivers and caregivers want to be. There is a professional relationship that we encourage, but whenever you're in when you're in someone's personal space day in and day out, and you become really close to these individuals, you do have a bond. But I think that our caregivers are really good of knowing that, there's a friendship bond, but there's also a professional bond as well.
And it's probably a fairly clear line that when or when not to cross it.
Of course.
Certainly. How did you get the name Seniors Helping Seniors?
It is a franchise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where are they based out of?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Are they all across the country?
They are. We were the first in Middle Tennessee.
Do you suddenly, is your area limited to Davidson, Williamson, and Rutherford?
That's where our footprint is. We can go outside of the areas if we have caregivers in that area.
I'm thinking like Bedford.
We have Woodbury. I think that's Cannon County. So our footprint goes into a few other counties, but those are the main ones.
Tell me a little more about Danielle in terms of a heart. As we meet and as we visit, as we chat about this wonderful service, you appear to me to be an individual both with a heart for other people as well as a knowledge of how to respond to the best possible area. Have you always been a heartful person?
I have. This is me. I always giggle and say I'm a feeling person. From the moment that I've started this journey in social work and working with this population, I've never veered from it. I think that everyone's story is important. I think that a lot of our aging population, there's so much knowledge there that it's not tapped into. It's not heard yet. In every home that I go into, every individual that I meet, when we speak, I'm fully invested in what their story is, because it needs to be heard. I think that that's part of who I am personally, and that's part of what's drawn me into being able to provide the care and the personalized service that Seniors Helping Seniors provides, is because when we go into the home, we're truly meeting you and figuring out what your story is so we can become part of that.
I guess if I were to modify the name, I guess I would call it Seniors Loving Seniors.
No, that's a good one.
And I think the love of other people. As we all know, one of the greatest phenomena that's occurred in America in the last 30 to 40 years is people are living a lot longer. And, it's been said that when somebody retires at the, quote, fixed age of 65, they still literally have 15, 20, maybe 25 years ahead of them all, literally a whole aspect of life. I have always said, not plan for your retirement just financially, not plan for your retirement just what you want to do no longer when you're not working anymore, but plan to make the last chapters of one's life as pleasant, delightful, and exciting and challenging as you possibly can have. And I've always said to people who are planning their retirement, plan not as the end, but as a beginning of new chapters. Do your caregivers take them out to events and activities?
We do. We've gone to the co-op to get birdseed for.
Oh, really?
It is bird watching season. We've gone to the co-op to get birdseed. We've gone to flower shows. We've gone to different events to the movies, and out to lunch. I mean, you name it. We really try to personalize where, what do you want to do? Is that getting out in the community? Is that going to the senior center? And how can we make that happen for you?
When you were talking, I thought, please don't tell me you have a senior out there who wants her caregiver to take her to Taylor Swift this weekend. I don't know whether you have a caregiver who would want to necessarily go see.
I think I've got a few people in my family that I think would just volunteer to do that.
To take that would be an experience at its own. Although you begin to think with the Predators or Sounds game or even Titans game, you may ultimately have a point of going to a sporting event if there's a mobile ability.
Yeah. Yes, correct. I mean, again, the sky's the limit on how someone wants to receive their services. We try to really tailor, what that would look like. And if going to a sporting event is going to make someone happy in their journey, and we have the capability and they have the ability, then let's make it happen.
Now, this is a question that, I always have to ask at the end, but it's a question that people will ask. Is the cost covered under insurance?
We are private pay right now.
Okay.
We do work with some long-term care insurance companies. We're working to get on the VA provider list as well.
Good. Do you have a relationship with the VA hospital?
We're working on that.
Uh-huh.
It's a process to get vetted with them, so we are in the process of that.
So what it says is that families who are planning financially for their later chapters of life, do take a look at your long-term care insurance. Do take a look at your long-term care funding. You can't assume all of it is picked up by Medicare or picked up by, quote, a Medicare supplemental insurance plan. You want to be sure that this is covered probably to the same degree as you would have any other insurance plan stated for.
Mm-hmm.
Going another step further, do you require all of your people to have a good sense of humor?
Most of our individuals have a wonderful sense of humor, care receivers and caregivers.
Okay.
Again, it's really where can we meet you on your journey and what individuals, needs are. We have some individuals that are definitely in need of companionship, and they start off a little shy, a little meek. They've never had services. They've never had a stranger in their home, right?
Sure.
So a lot of the times our journey with them becomes very positive and becomes just like a friend coming to visit a couple times a week or 3 times a week. They look forward to it.
And probably the opposite side of that, we can laugh together. Can we cry together?
Oh, of course. Again, everyone's journey is very different. Life has ups and downs.
Sure.
Not everything is, I like to say, kittens and rainbows, right? So
Puppies.
we always have, life's challenges, but as long as we are there to support someone, we're all human. Being human comes with emotions, and emotions are good and bad and hard. So, we try to meet individuals where they are. We provide whatever services we can. Not just companionship, not just seniors helping seniors. I think part of me being so passionate in what I do, if there's something else that you need assistance with, if there's something else that I can guide you to help you live better, then I'm going to help you find that.
And one of the final comments I'd like to have you share is, as important as it is to work with the client, the patient, tell us how it is working with the families. So important to be building a support of the family and making the family realize what's needed.
I always say family members, when you become a caregiver, it's a different role. You put on your caregiver hat. Your role of daughter, your role of son, all those roles are no longer there when you're caregiver. So when we step in, we tell the caregiver, that's the family member, hey, you need to go back to your normal role. It's okay. We're going to step in and take that job. You be your own self with your loved one. We also have something called the family room, with someone can log on to their portal if they are part of, let's say we've got an individual that lives in California. And their loved one lives here, and they want to know what's going on with mom. She can log on to the family portal and see pictures of the caregiver and the mom at the flower show. She can log on to that portal and say, oh, don't forget to remind mom to take her medicine. It's part of a collaborative opportunity that we have to work with all families to keep everyone involved, everyone happy, and everyone healthy, because caregivers need that rest so they can still be, the loved one that they are to one another.
This is Bill Krause of the Roundtable. We have had a wonderful visit this morning with I have to call it a special angel, a lady who began Seniors Helping Seniors, serving both Rutherford, Williamson, and Davidson counties with special personalized caring service. And it has been a real pleasure. It's been a real eye-opener, because as our population becomes older and many, many more people in the aging process, this is a service that's on top of the list. Thank you for joining us this morning, and we wish you continued great success. See you next week, my friends.